Hey everybody, Charlie 902 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're still on the last case here. When we last left off, we talked to the Great Lord Chief Justice Counselor Omega Prime Super Clock Dude. And he told us that Miss Usato is supposed to go back to Japan tomorrow. And then he also told us that Miss Lestrade has no legal representation. So we're going to go try to be her lawyer. Let's go visit her now and see if she will work with us at this point. Maybe we can convince her. Let's move to the prison for a third time. See if a new dialogue choice has popped up. Oh no, she's not here. This is not good. 16th April, local prison cell 13. Oh no, there she is. She just hadn't loaded in yet. Ah! Hello again, Gina. There you go. Make a big dramatic loading of that grenade pistol? Grenade launcher? What are you lot here for now? To have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. You should have said that out loud, not thought it. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition to that thing, don't I? Look. You can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Eh? Farewell? Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I've had so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Susie. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right, I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they are so clearly unhappy. Because of you. What? It's my fault? Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the fate that they've invested in you. Eh? Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, huh? You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting to one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Jenny? You said something about the unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted? Ah, the case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe. Will you tell us about it now? Converse? We can't examine. We can present, but she didn't want to look at what we presented, so let's examine, or converse. The trial 2 months ago. Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand. And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. Are we going to get video? No. It was pitch black in that little cubby hole. I couldn't see a thing, and then... thud. I heard that loud thud, like someone falling on the floor. And that's when Mr. McGilded discovered you? Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and set me next to the dead man. Who doesn't have a knife in him right now? There weren't much light to see by, but when I looked at my hands, I had the cove's blood all over them. I was so scared, I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight? Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were and why you were hiding under the seat. Yeah, you did. Only, that's not all. What do you mean? I mean, he threatened me. Threatened you how? He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I heard. And about what he was going to do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarper before the coppers showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. Oh goodness, what did you see? He said McGilded made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw? But you were in the pitch black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the cove hitting the floor, I let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. McGilded heard that and dragged me out by my arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer what had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one with what the D took off me at the Windy Banks. So the music disc was there on the floor of the omnibus? Not for long, Miss McGilded spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it inside his pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder? And the bog trotter told me I weren't to mutter a word of it to no one. Okay, what'd you hear? Because it was so dark under that seat in the cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and the footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably that was McGilded getting on board. Nah, not only him. Oh? Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. In that case, it would seem unlikely that it was Mr. McGilded and the victim. Or seem likely that it was Mr. McGilded and the victim, which means that the victim didn't fall from above. Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilded claimed he'd slept during the carriage ride. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and always succumb to it. And your own testimony, Gina, supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear them talking the whole time in low voices. What? What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the wheels was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilden and the victim knew each other. Well, yeah, we knew that the guy had borrowed money from him, right? So McGilded was lying, as I suspected. After the event. I knew it weren't going to take long before someone raised the alarm that the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, McGilda told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The two coves from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, I'm Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. Right, and after they'd gone, McGilded asked the driver to do him a favor. A favor? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit with the nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. Hey, I'll give you 10 guineas. 10 guineas. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Wendy Banks. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the carriage. McGilded opened the box under his seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. What were his conditions? What did he have you do? What were McGilded's conditions then? For letting you go free, I mean. Not telling a soul, not for anything about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There was more? Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? At all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Your weasel? That sounds horrible. Aye, the fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. And I want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right, and I'll come fetch it from you later. Sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then. Is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. All right, then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Wendy Banks, so it is, and you're to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you get, the article will be forfeited, and any old fiend can come along and buy it. Yeah, but I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me... Yeah, I get it. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? A. Or I. They'll come asking you to take the stand in court to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that you might say, and what is it that you want? Imagine this is the conversation they had, represented by dots. After he'd gone over it all, I piked it, got as far away from there as I could. He hid the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGilded planned it and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied in that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. The thing is, He said he would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. So he threatened all the orphans? Oh my God. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilded would have, in a heartbeat, he could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then where would we have gone? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid. Well, I mean, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. Favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. Eh? If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident, dummy. Last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Jenny. Is it bad? Is he gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right? That's why I want to investigate. For Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy. Is that it? Something like that? Miss Susato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Jenny. She seems so lonely. Gina's representation papers have been entered into the court record. The paperwork signed by Gina to put me in charge of her defense, showing that the Scotland Yard detectives gains us access to the crime scene. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windybanks now. Yes, and perhaps we can come back to visit Jenny when we're done there. Before we do anything, I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windybanks. Although, something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. Just bring Iris with it. Oh, to be continued yet again. What is this, an intermission? This last case, we haven't even gotten to the court, which I assume there's going to be a court part of it. We've been playing this what seems like forever. And it's continued like 3 or 4 times. Save your progress. Yes. 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 Continue. 16th of April, 1:26 p.m., Windybanks Pawnbrokery. Court record. I want to look at these before I give them to Gregson. The paperwork signed by Gina to put me in charge of her defense, showing the Scotland Yard detectives gains us access to the crime scene. I, the undersigned, agreed to legal representation by the lawyer named hereunder in regard to the following incident. Representation writ. Defendant, Gina Lestrade. Alleged offense, murder of Baker Street pawnbroker. Date of trial, 17th April, 10 a.m. Attorney-in-law, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Can we flip it around and move it around? No, we can't. Okay, let's go back. Pawnbrokery. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Okay. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Oh, we don't have to present them. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship. How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Glug, 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 glug. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, yes. I hardly feel tired at all. I'm as fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be all right if we investigated the scene of the crime then? Do as you please. You know where it happened, though. That door behind the counter. Through that door behind the counter. I don't want to go there yet. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windybank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Come then. Let us not waste any time. All right, examine time. We want to start over here, and I believe was the shovels. Yep. There's the article ledger there, and Mr. Windybank's notes, and huh? What's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. We know what that is. It's a pawnbroker's ticket. Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie. Show us. This one has blood on it. 15th of February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited. 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15 April, 10:30 p.m. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1? Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Jenny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. It seems Mr. Windybank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have to hand. Well, he had multiple of this photo. But this photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently. Oh yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Jenny gave us earlier. Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print. What are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out. All right, all right. Let the cocks turn. Are they the same? They look the same. Am I supposed to spot differences here? I'm trying to look for anything that might be different. Not seeing anything super obvious. Well, no, the pattern at the bottom of the cat's shadow is different. Yeah, there are some subtle differences between these two. And the cat, the shadow behind the cat is different. Yeah, it's slightly different. But the knife drawing was different than the knife that was used in the last case, but that ended up being the same. Hee hee, I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret. A secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once. Hee hee, do you really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. They are slightly different angles because you're supposed to look at them through the, what was it called? The little binocular viewer. Stereoscope, that's what they called them. Oh, do we have to converse with her for that? Can't we just examine? Oh no, we can examine here. Hold on, let's go court record. We can't look at them. Let's go ahead and talk to her. So Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windybank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. Yeah, the cat is slightly different angle as well. Yeah, it's a stereoscope, right? What is the amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints? Actually, that's not quite right. Sorry? If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. I've already noticed this. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other? I think so. It's very subtle though. Yeah, look at the snowman's right eye. How much closer on the right side it is to the border as opposed to the left side. That's because, once again, it's a perspective shift. Parallax and all that. What's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Oh, parallax. Ah, well, it's because they're a set, you see. No, I don't. This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, a stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Because you have. Oh, yes, that's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there. Ah, yes, of course, that magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. There's also a folded up one below that. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions. What, really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon, bless her. He said bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. If we do this, are they going to kick us out? How stereoscopic prints work. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Yes, because of a difference in perspective. Well, I just opened them, and it works. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes. Shocking. If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away what you see with your left eye and what you see with your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly, and in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see. Ah, my brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. So if you could persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints. Yes, Runo, you're beginning to understand. And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that? Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Really? How to view stereoscopic prints. Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that? I can. Cross my eyes? I think I can. Y'all remember those Magic Eye pictures that were like big in the like late 90s? It was probably mid to late 90s. It looked like a picture of static with like some color thrown in there. And if you looked at it cross-eyed enough, you could see an image of like a dinosaur or a beach ball or something that was 3D. Wonder whatever happened to those. Watch me and see if you can copy. She did it. Make your eyes do this. All right, let me try. Come on, Susato. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Jesus Christ. There, how's that? Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at the prints. We're going to look at it next episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.